need like 2 more cameras on this side. There's gonna be a lot happening right here, so.
We've started, haven't we?
Yes.
So better I sit back or a nice slouchy?
Can you guys get it there?
Can we roll sound?
Can we roll sound right now?
What's up?
It's supposed to be a porta potty. How do you say it?
Oh, potpourri.
I'm just kidding.
You guys got this?
What's your hands, mate?
There's a man cleaning a building, but life must go on, even in a Mark Ronson documentary.
Okay.
Who is Mark Ronson? Mark Ronson.
He's my son. That's the easiest start.
Mark Ronson is
He's my stepson.
my big brother.
He's my oldest friend.
He's a dude I've known for a long time.
Mark Ronson is a conduit, and anything can go through that conduit. Anything.
They don't really make them like Mark.
He's probably a bit shy, but probably knows how to fake that quite good.
Sensitive in a good way, positive way, not negative.
He's one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of getting to know.
Who said white man can't wear yellow?
Always very thoughtful, always very diplomatic.
Mark Ronson is terribly uncomfortable right now, wherever he is.
Mark Ronson is one of the greatest musicians and producers of our time.
He's a rock star.
He's like a culture capsule that's being like launched through time, kind of like picks up the debris of every era.
He's a rap band, record producer, songwriter.
I can play drums, guitar, bass, rock out.
He's an Academy Award winner.
He's like this guy that looks like Elvis, but he's English, and he's kind of like a film nerd, but he's like the coolest guy there is.
He's like your best friend who's the best producer in the world.
Mark is a great human being first. Great human being. That's why he never stops turning out what he loves, you know.
That's so much fun to listen to.
I know there's people that are, I'm the producer, I'm in charge, but he does it in a way that's kind and cool, and I know it sounds like we're you know, going out together or something, but so what? It is what it is.
What I've loved so much about Mark since the beginning is he always wants to get into the soul of the artist. If he's not getting to your soul, he's not interested.
I was like, holy shit, that's Mark Ronson.
You've not done Desert Island Discs, have you?
Yeah, I've never been asked for Desert Island Discs. Maybe because it's just more interesting to see what like a politician or some humanitarian would do than like a DJ. It's like, we know you're a Desert Island Disc, you play them all the time. I would probably need like a good few hours of like actually digging through my record collection or looking through my iTunes library or whatever to even whittle it down. Do you want a number of them? Should I try and go for something? Okay, so Desert Island Disc tracks of all time would be so tough, like once you start really getting into it. It's a lot of brain power for this first question, sorry.
I weigh the water. I feel it all. I ask myself a million questions in the dark. I lay in silence, but silence talks. It tells me heaven is no closer than before. My heart keeps pulling in the wrong direction. I'm about to cross that line, looking for the wrong affection night after night. Trying to find a new distraction. I want to make it last all night. Everything that I've been mixing, all mixed up inside.
I was going through the breakup of my marriage, which caused me to like confront a bunch of like early childhood shit. It was kind of hairy. I think it like kind of opened the vaults a bit, but I didn't know how to deal with it and wasn't like mature enough to kind of handle and really address it. I wouldn't have necessarily thought about putting it in my music. I wouldn't say I'm emotionally closed off, but I think like sometimes I'm like the last person to know like what I might be feeling. I certainly didn't think like, okay, I'm gonna make a breakup record.
Annie Mac here backstage.
Because the next person on that stage is Mr. Mark Ronson, and he's joined me here in the studio. Hello, Mark.
And I'm a little nervous because, you know, it's the first
Well, it's
first time in a
healthy.
while.
It's healthy,
So-
and you've got it's not just you and some decks up there like it was with all of us. You've brought a full production tonight.
Yeah, it's basically the Broken Heart kind of disco bowl, but like as a shade on its side, which becomes the DJ booth. It's really interesting to like roll with the concept of the album.
Which is kind of heartbreak and joy juxtaposed.
Yes.
Yeah?
Live in Middlesbrough.
Live in Middlesbrough tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm always stressed because there's this feeling of like, don't fuck up, don't fuck up. Like there have to be dips and lows, but like if there's a moment where I feel like the energy's waned, I like start to spin out in my head. So I'm learning to just accentuate the positive a little bit too, you know? It's like, we're gonna fucking go out and kill it, as opposed to like, it better be fucking perfect or it's gonna be miserable, you know? So, that being said, it better be fucking perfect or I'm gonna be miserable. Excuse me.
Please, can you welcome our headliner tonight, Mark Ronson!
You know, I come from being like a club DJ, so I probably tend to think like that's all anybody would want to hear from me anyway. And also just like growing up, like believing most of my adult life that like it's not right to express your feelings, or you probably should try and do it as little as possible. If you're not that great at accessing your emotions in your real life, it's probably unlikely that they're gonna suddenly come out in your music, you know?
Mark was a honeymoon baby. I came back from honeymoon, I had this horrible food poisoning. So I went to see the doctor. He said, "You don't have food poisoning, you're pregnant."
Mark came along probably, I think it was about 9 months from the day we got married, so, you know, it was a pretty instant arrival. So you get a major buzz out of, you know, having a child, especially the macho thing comes out, oh, I've got a son, you know, which was followed up by twin daughters. He was just a great kid from day one.
My dad was from like a nice Jewish family from North London, and my mom was from Southport, Liverpool. My dad was a music obsessive for sure. He had like 45s of like all the stacks and soul. When I started to DJ, it was actually by going through his record collection. It's like what gave me my first crate of like the old school stuff.
I remember sort of really enjoying discovering, you know, music, perhaps, you know, an import that wasn't being played on the radio, you know. Everything from the Stones through to R&B and soul and funk.
I would make dinner parties, and I let the children stay up till the cocktail hour, because I said to them it was important that they learnt to mix with grown-ups, but they had to look them in the eye and shake their hand.
It was a party house. You know, perhaps, you know, the evenings extended beyond the realms of normality. Whether that was the ideal environment to bring up children, I don't know, but it happened.
This famous musician came over one day, and introduce himself to Mark, he said, "Hello, my name's Mick Jagger. And you know what I do? Play music." So Mark said, "Well, you can't be famous because I haven't seen you on The Muppet Show."
I think he was obsessed with the Muppets when we were growing up. I remember my mother telling us a story that, like, whenever anyone would come over, he would, like, kind of wheel us, Samantha and I, to, like, the door to be like, "Have you come to take the Muppets away?" Like, I think he liked his time as just, you know, on his own.
I mean, my parents were a young couple. I would wake up in the middle of the night, there's 30 people, ashtray, cigarettes, sitting all over, everybody's partying, like Simon Kirke from Bad Company. I remember being at the piano and, like, one time walking down and being like, seeing Christopher Reeve there, like, and then, you know, what goes up must come down, right? You have a party, there's a hangover. I have a lot of memories of hearing shouting through the doors and shit breaking and just being like, oh, fuck. The fighting and this kind of thing probably reached an impasse, and then they separated when I was 5.
Just one of those things. You know, it's difficult to remember how these kind of things evolve, especially when they devolve as well. So, you know, yeah.
Being children of divorce, you don't really know what's going on, but you're heavily bonded together, and he was always there for us and teaching us, like, all the bad words and things like that.
When I filed for divorce, it was tough. It was a little chaos, as it is with most people.
I remember her being, like, quite emotional at times. I remember, like, getting into bed and she was kind of, like, emotional or crying or being like, all these things at 5 that you're not quite sure how to deal with.
I think the unit got closer. We were just that little island.
It was very difficult because, you know, they didn't move around the corner, they moved to the States.
It doesn't sound like it's like the hardest story ever, but definitely shit that just, I've realized kind of now, like, okay, that might have affected me in this way, or why do I drawn to these kind of, like, emotionally fraught, quite complicated artists that I always seem to want to feel like I need to fix or whatever it is. It's like, oh, that might go back to this. Reads nice on the phone. My wife and I, we split in March or April 2017, and right about that time we just moved to LA. I was supposed to be starting to work up on a follow-up to Uptown Special, whatever that was. And I was just kind of, like, trying to shirk off the responsibility of, like, having to be an adult and also having to make this record. And then January 2018, just decided to get my shit together. It was either that or release a cover of To All the Girls I Loved Before by Julio Iglesias, I guess, yeah. We had just moved into this brand new studio. Just told the engineer, Todd, I was like, show me how this shit works and just, like, take the month off. And that's when I started building back my confidence and just building back, like, building a sense of what this record was gonna be. I was in this messy place, kind of life, like I was in the middle of the separation. I was, like, going out drinking. I wasn't dealing with life, and I wasn't looking to get into anything particularly deep or meaningful, musically or otherwise.
I'd been wanting to work with him for a very, very long time, and I felt like this was, like, my one opportunity, and I didn't want to, like, leave the studio having not gotten anything.
It was kind of the end of the day, and I think it was at that point where I was just, like, itching to get out of here. And Elsie was like, do you want to try one more thing? So I got on the piano, this electric piano, and was just kind of, like, fucking around, like, looking for chords. And sometimes you're just looking for, like, the first chord that just feels a bit nice. And I think, like, I mean, it's so basic, but... And then... And then I put probably just, like, a kick drum, which we can kind of bring up. And then started playing the chords. And then you got the melody pretty quick.
Yeah, and for me, I just kind of mumble until I hear stuff, but the verse kind of came all at once for me, and it was just like,
I wade the water, I feel it all. I ask myself a million questions in the dark. I lay in silence, but silence talks. It tells me heaven is no closer than it was.
And then we kind of were like, okay, where do we go from there?
I loved how the lyrics were so, I wade the water, I feel it all, I ask myself a million questions in the dark, like all of it.
For that first verse, it was just like a magical moment where it just kind of came. And I think that it's sometimes you can't really explain it.
I was so impressed lyrically what she was on and melodically, and it had this spooky wistfulness, and we wrote Late Night Feelings, or at least the start of it. You combine pain, emotion, feeling, the openness to be able to help people tap into their own thing, which she does with other artists and helped me do on this record, which is usually what I'm doing on other people's records, helping them tap into something. I needed somebody who could do that for me on this record.
Between the producer and the singer, you establish some type of trust and vulnerability. Like, he will share something very personal and I will share something personal. So when it's time to like record the song or lay down the vocals, there's already trust that we're dealing with something very delicate and intimate. So it's really about trust.
You probably have a feeling about this, but on the On and On, maybe somebody could really go high, so that, because I think there is a really high one in the background, is it?
I was thinking too, should I maybe let them sing Late Night Feelings when I get to... It's really beautiful that he actually realizes what an intimate thing it is to track vocals or lay down vocals, and he really respects you. And what is really interesting is like everyone that he chose to collaborate with happened to be a woman, and I feel like women are really good at like channeling those kinds of emotions. Like, women are not afraid to like go there. We love that shit.
Should we try it? Sure. Okay.
I weigh the water, I feel it all. I ask myself a million questions in the dark. I lay inside.
I think I just kept coming to the studio every day, and when I would sit down to the piano, like the only chords that would come out were like kind of melancholy. And every now and then we'd come here and we'd try to do something fun. It would feel good in the room, and then the next day I just like listened to it for a second, like just didn't feel connected to it. We'd be writing these new songs. It was almost just like sort of taking over me. I was like, this is just happening. I'm not gonna fight it. Like it certainly was like, this is new, but it feels right, and it feels like what it needs to be happening. And then I was like, okay, if these songs are gonna be a little bit more moody or melancholy or a little deeper, then yeah, like they need to move well. Great. That's great.
The vocal breakdown, but whatever.
So much fun. It feels great.
Yeah, it feels good with the band.
I totally didn't remember the end was coming, so I'm just like, waka-tuka, waka-tuka, yeah, waka-tuka. I'm just gonna need a hug at the end of this week. Just the place that feels the most familiar. family's English, but New York is like the backbone.
I met Mick in the middle of my divorce, and I wasn't looking to be remarried.
I had been finishing up our album, the Four album. Anne was in a separation with her husband at the time. And I took one look at her and I just fell in love immediately.
I had to go to court to bring the children to America.
I think my mom decided that she just wanted to go to New York because she'd fallen in love with my stepdad. But I think that there was something earnestly in her that thought, like, if I can get them away, it will be better for their life. My stepdad had just had a second divorce. He was living in this kind of sweet but modest apartment, and all of a sudden he's inherited this woman and her 3 kids. Like, we're just like all in this place, 3 of us sharing a room.
And without fail, the children went to bed at 7, and without fail, Mick would go and play his recordings he'd just done at the studio, and Mark would come in and he'd say, "Can I just sit up? Can I just listen?"
He was always curious as to what I was doing. He liked to hear mixes when I brought them home, and so we'd sit there and listen, and that was his initiation into the studio.
One night, Mick said to him, "So what do you think, Mark?" And Mark went, "2 nights ago, you played the second track, and there's a riff you left out tonight, right at the beginning of the second track." And Mick's face was like, he didn't remember, you know?
I remember meeting him because he was a remarkable kid. I mean, I don't know, I mean, in my mind, it's like we were all dressed in like snotty t-shirts, and he was already kind of looking cool. He had some style. I don't know if it was Anne or someone helping him, but he always had a good look. And when he introduced himself, he was like, "Hi, Mark. I play drums, bass, guitar, and piano." And I'm like, "Hi, like I pick my nose." So yeah, I remember I didn't even play guitar when I met him.
I think we just started talking instantly about music, talking about Zeppelin, INXS, Jimi Hendrix, Guns N' Roses, whatever kids talking about that age. And he was just so cool and, like, at that age even, like, so super intelligent and goofy. So we started playing music together and, like, teaching each other, like, how to play The Devil Inside by INXS or something, and, you know, just whatever kids do.
I remember he had like a streak in his hair, and it was cool. It was like a little blonde streak. And I think I was at someone's bar mitzvah or something, and this girl, this pretty girl, was like, "Why do you have this streak in your hair?" And he goes, "Camouflage." And I was just like, who are you? Like, I don't even know how to talk to girls, and you're already just like having the quips like that. That was Mark when we were like 13.
Back in the days when I was a teenager, before I had status and before I had a pager, you could find the abstract. Listening to hip hop, my pops used to say it reminded him of bebop. I said, well,
being in New York, hip hop was like the sound of the city. Yeah, I just think of cars going by with the music coming out the window. You just kind of hear it, you're like, oh, this is me now.
Come on, everybody, let's get with the fly mode.
This is Rock and Soul, where I used to come up every week to buy records. I'd meet other DJs there, you know, like everything about this place was synonymous with like my first 10 years of DJing in New York. This was in my first high school band ever. The first song we ever played was Always on the Run, Lenny too. I loved his stuff. He'd found a way to make the drums sound like the 70s in this kind of cool way that no one did at that time. Oh, look at this. I don't even actually own this on vinyl. I was like totally obsessed with hip hop, and I was listening to DJs that I love, like Funkmaster Flex and Stretch Armstrong, and I didn't know anything about making hip hop. I didn't know how to make a beat. I certainly wasn't gonna like rap. So like DJing was like, oh, that's how I can express my love for this art form. Like that's my way in.
Mark was always gonna dominate music, however that was. You know, he was making tracks and doing remixes and DJing, but I think DJing was just like the beginning of him figuring out like how he fit into music. The first time I met Mark, we were 19. He was so cute, and he was just like cool. We became friends, and then we dated, and then we were engaged, and then we broke up, and now we're friends again. So we've had a long, you know, interesting path. He was incredibly focused and also very hardworking. I mean, he was DJing 4 or 5 times a week at that point.
I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say think back 22 years ago to keep it on track.
You would go around, you'd have your demo for the club, so you'd have a mixtape and you'd maybe be like, okay, this is what I would sound like in your club. I just remember the feeling when you saw your name on a flyer, even if it was like a fraction of the size of the font of Funkmaster Flex, you're like, I've made it, like this is downtown famous. You know, as 19, that was really such a feeling of like accomplishment. I would just hassle every club promoter. No gig was too small, no fee too low.
He cut his teeth as a hip-hop kid. That's who he is, you know what I'm saying? And he could put the English accent on when he wants and the New York accent on when he wants. But he's hip-hop at his core.
Q-Tip would come in the booth, I remember, and demurely kind of start like rifling through my records that were there.
I probably did that, you know, just to see if he was the goods, you know what I mean? But he passed.
He called me and left a message on my machine. And I remember saving the message for months. Like anyone who would come over to my house who was like a friend that I knew was a hip hop fan, I'd be like, you want to hear Q-Tip? Like, yeah. And it was like, what's up, Mark? It's Tip.
Biggie had passed. Puff was doing his thing. Jay was emerging. It was a lot of R&B fusion. So for him to still be like in 92, authentic break beats, like studying, going through samples and all that stuff as a DJ, it was something that I took note of.
Spins backseat, TV plasma. Ladies looking for athletes or rappers.
I want to be moved by what I listen to and by what I make, and I felt a lot of the modern music doesn't actually move you.
Where them gangsters at? Where them dimes at?
I had just signed to a small label through Virgin Records with a man called Dominic Trenier.
He was this super cool, fly, young black guy in the music industry. Super hip, like he worked with D'Angelo. He knew like Jamiroquai, like Puffy and Andre Harrell all loved him.
And he suggested this DJ kid who's got this whole knowledge of hip hop and stuff, and he's not a producer, but he knows a lot about music, and I don't know, if I just put you guys in a room, maybe something will happen.
We made this one song called Like a Feather.
I'd written it on guitar, just bit. And then Mark found the dun-dun-dun-dun-duns, and he started just playing it in it, and we just dropped the guitar immediately, and I just started singing it over the beats that he was doing.
It was truly the first thing that we made that was like, what the fuck is that? Like, it just sounded like kind of nothing else, and that's what everybody kind of reacted to.
It was an amazing time. Even though he'd never produced before, he knew his shit.
That was when I started to discover I have this background of like live music and a little bit of playing, and I know that when I bring like this kind of Beatles fuzz distorted guitar line and sort of like Sly influenced bass line, like now I'm making it my own thing, and this is sort of a little maybe more interesting, or at least it's unique to me.
And when I set her free, like a feather, you will be, and when I rise, sit down.
had this huge buzz around it. Like Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes were like coming up to me in the club like, oh, you did that beat? Like DJ Premier, my hero, came into the DJ booth and he's like, who did this beat? And I'm like, first of all, I'm just shook to be meeting my hero. And second of all, I'm thinking like, oh my God, he's just gonna be like, who's ripping off my whole style? Like, and I was like, I did the beat. He goes, this shit is hard. And just for 2.5 minutes it was like this, and it was definitely the highlight of my life.
Don't you leave me lonely tonight, 'cause I won't forgive you. Tell me if this love is a lie. Okay, sorry, wait.
So stop it. You're not getting, because I just feel like I'm just playing subtly. I can't quite get something as cool as the original pad, so I'm just... Abby came into Electric Lady when I was really in the early stages of making the record. It was myself and Andrew Wyatt, and we had an idea of these chords and a pre-existing melody. So we wanted Abby. I loved her voice. She came in. I was like, maybe she'll write lyrics to this. And it just kind of was like going, but not really clicking. And then we took a 2-second break, and she just started singing this completely different melody and song over the same chords. And we were just like, what the fuck is that? She was like, I don't know. I just made it up. I was like, that's the song now.
Tell me, baby, what's on your heart? That's perfect, you're an angel. I've been wandering around in your dark, yeah. I got way too many questions, I've been learning lessons, loving too hard. Give me just a second to breathe, 'cause you've been turning all the tables on me, yeah. Whenever you would get up in your feelings, listen. Now you turn around and leave. Anticipating, 'cause you know I'm never satisfied. It's been the most clarifying musical experience of my life. He gives me so much room to find myself. If we fall apart, sorry, let's do it in the dark. What I bring in, he just kind of helps all of my scattered ideas make more sense. Don't you leave me lonely tonight, 'cause I won't forgive you, won't forget, won't. Don't you leave me lonely tonight, 'cause I can't forget you. I toss and turn alone in my bed, when you should be laying here beside me instead. Oh, don't you leave me lonely tonight, 'cause I won't forgive you this time. Forgive you.
To record a vocal like that, and then to sing it live like this, and even in this rehearsal each time have a different nuance thing that's just like as special as the record. Like, because she's had to say some nice things about me in my presence, which is embarrassing. I will say that she's one of the top 5 greatest vocalists I've ever recorded, and like just the kind of person that when they're singing in a room, everybody just suddenly engages more.
Ooh, I toss and turn alone in my bed, when you should be laying here beside me instead. Oh, don't you leave me lonely tonight, 'cause I can't forgive you this time. Fuck. Okay.
That was a beautiful take, girl. Like that was fucking lit. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely like some super driven, ambitious, workaholic, whatever you want to call it, tendencies that like drive me or make it okay to stay in the studio till 2 in the morning, but like you just love it so much, like it keeps you awake at night. It's not like I have to finish this because I feel like this could be the biggest hit if I finish it. It's just like, I know there's something so good in there that I will be sad if I let it die.
It needs to be a little bit more hype. Like, you know, this is Mark Ronson's first album. He's a really nice guy from a good Jewish family. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. I'm chilling with your peoples. Mark Ronson. You know Mark's first album and all that. He ain't shit. He be on that bullshit. Fuck that nigga. I hate him.
I just wanted to make an album of my own that felt a bit like a DJ set. And at that point I was playing like a little bit of like rock and roll now in the set, dropping White Stripes or AC/DC in the right place.
The first mic we listened back to sounded better, right? Cleaner and shit.
I remember sending the beat to Ooh-Wee, to Ghostface manager. And then he's like, yeah, Ghost is gonna call you. I was just so like butterflies in the stomach because I'm just like so psyched to be speaking to Ghostface Killah. Really want to make sure I don't say anything stupid. He's like, yeah, so that beat's cool, man. It's like on some Tony Manero. And I was like, oh, that John Travolta. Yeah, it's a Tony Manero shit. Like, I get it. So you like Saturday Night Fever thing? Yeah, like, absolutely. Like, I mean, whatever you want to do, Ghostface's version of Saturday Night Fever is going to be very cool.
Yo, what's the deal, nigga? Yo, one night, New York City, heard it going down. Friday night, midnight, Atlantic City, slash machines, ding, 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 when they ring off. Lock the doors, that's when Ghost just Cheetos. Cigars, Paisley robes, 4 bitches got it.
He sent me this verse. It was really funny too because he said my name, Mark Bronson, like with a B. I couldn't tell if he was just saying that because it sounded a bit tougher, like Charles Bronson or special guest star Mark Bronson.
Special guest star Mark Bronson.
We paid him 25 grand and he can't say my name right. That was like the thing, but honestly it did sound tougher. It did feel like this amazing like blank checkbook from Elektra Records because I sampled the strings from Sunny by Boney M. And then I sampled the drum break from Dennis Coffey. So basically, by the time the publishing was done, I owed 150%. It's like the movie The Producers. Whenever someone calls me, it's like, hey, Ooh-Wee's like in the Domino's ad again, man. Like, pizza's on you. I'm like, no, not even. Like, I get probably negative money when it airs. Ooh-Wee. I just thought that I got to make this record that was like the record of my dreams. But obviously, it was probably a pretty expensive record if you're looking at it from the label point of view. And then you get dropped, and then suddenly nobody's returning your phone calls anymore. Like the next year or two when it started to get like leaner times, then I was just probably thinking like, okay, maybe this isn't gonna happen for me anymore. 2005, I remember me and Q-Tip, when we would drive around in his car, he'd always listen to Just by Radiohead, and I was always transfixed by the guitar part in the middle, the way that the two woven harmony lines work together. The down and down down down, and it was just so gorgeous. And I just thought, like, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to take a part of that song. And I started to sample it how I usually do and like loop the guitar and put a drum beat over it. But it just felt like stiff, and it felt like I wasn't doing the song any justice. And then I was like, what if I just try and like actually cover the whole song? I thought if I can make the chord progression of Just, which is like that down, 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 move like that, like so it's a down, 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 down. So I just started to make this thing and build this James Brown-y breakbeat that I programmed, and I was like, all right, well, what do I do for the really heavy guitars, like the, and I was like, well, what if I did like horns, because horns can sit on top, give the same energy maybe, like, and they're not gonna like swallow this breakbeat whole.
I was in the studio at Radio 1 when I played it to Ed from Radiohead. I was the one who played it to him. I was interviewing him, I was like, listen to this. He was like, this is funky as fuck. Like, what is this? And I was like, this is Mark Ronson. He was like, yo, I love this. No one had you know, taken these songs and gone, hey, I'm going to give it sort of like a hip-hop Motown type spin. Like anything like that, you know, the attention goes from positive to critical. Like, does anyone really need another horn-laced version of a modern indie classic? Okay, you can say that all day, but when it first came out, that was unique, that was different. We were like, yo, what is this? Like, bam, 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 dun, dun.
So I was just having a lot of fun doing these things, and I was like, if I'm never gonna really have any success as a career making music, like in a commercial sense, let me just make what I like at least. I was so obsessed with groove around that time, and lyrics and lyrical content was such an afterthought to me.
I love you much. It's not enough. You love blow and I love puff. And life is like a pipe, and I'm a tiny penny rolling up the walls inside.
I knew about Amy a little bit. 2003 around Carnival. I think that's right when Frank dropped. So I remember just seeing these posters everywhere. She was like smiling and laughing in this picture, and she looked kind of hot. Guy Moot, who was the head of EMI Publishing, said, do you know Amy Winehouse? She's in New York for like a day. Do you want to meet with her? And I was like, yeah, I remember like that thing she put out. And we're sitting in my studio, and I'm like, so what kind of record do you want to make? She's like, I've been listening to all this girl group stuff like the Shangri-Las, and I love this music. I was messing around the piano, and I don't know exactly where it came from, but I played something that I thought sounded like something that she would dig and was a bit reminiscent of the things she'd been playing, and I came up with the chords, the piano chords, the Back to Black, the bam, 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 bam. I thought, this is cool. I don't know what this is, but it seems like a vibe. So then I went, I had a little drum kit, just played like boom, tss, boom, tss. And then I remember like thinking like, okay, well let me put like a bunch of like fake reverb on the tambourine, so it's like, shh, like give it like my fake version of like wall of sound, like this thing that she likes. I was probably there till like 3 or 4 in the morning, came back at like noon as she came, and I was like, I did something last night, like inspired by what you were talking about, see what you think. And she's kind of like sitting behind me, and I play it, and I'm kind of trying to read her while I'm playing it, and she's kind of just like very like, it's impossible to read. And I was like, oh, it's not moving. Like I can just tell, like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. And she's like, that's what I want my whole album to sound like. I love it. And I was like, cool, great. And she took headphones and a little Discman and went in the back room where we had like the drums set up by herself for an hour, and just came back and had written Back to Black.
He left no time to regret. Kept his dick wet with his same old safe bag. Me and my head high and my tears dry, get on without my guy.
By the 3rd or 4th day, the first time I did something that she didn't like, I was working on this instrumental track, and she came, I was like, do you like this? And it was like a little too like clap busy, like funky, and she was like, no. And I started kind of scrambling, like taking different things out of the track, like what about now, like, is it that thing you don't like if I take that shaker out? And she's like, Mark, it's shit, like why are you trying to fix it? While that bluntness kind of stung quite a bit for like probably an hour, like it was a good lesson in just like how to just make better shit and just be more honest.
We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her.
got to talk about Back to Black, which is just one of the best albums of the century. I mean, an extraordinary album. His ability to create like a kind of backdrop in front of which Amy was able to let rip the most emotional songs. It was incredible.
The winner of the Best British Female, Amy Winehouse!
The voice alone would have been enough if she never wrote a song to it. Then the fact that she could play this music, was so frank and honest, and then had the command of language to actually convey those emotions in the most insanely clever, poetic way.
Hi. What can I say? Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, of course, it suited me in my life to be the producer, really, because I didn't want to express my emotions anyway. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, so it's easy to like, and they become then like chicken or egg, like, are you the producer? Because you like, do you engage in these tactics and take on these character traits because they kind of serve you, and like the fact that you don't really want to have to ever express yourself, open up. I mean, there's something that I always really like think about, that like, as somebody who came from like a fairly turbulent childhood, it makes sense that like I kind of zeroed in on the role where like I would spend as much time in a room by myself as possible, be the complete captain of my own ship, and nobody could really tell me what to do. We had this bass line, the doom, 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 and it was always this thing that sat around that we really loved. We just couldn't get the right song for it. I remember we came up with that line, like, I want somebody to love me, and it just came out of nowhere, but I was like, is that too basic? Like, can we say that in a song? And he was like, I don't know, it just feels good, it's okay. And I don't really know where it came from, because at that time I wasn't trying to channel any honesty in my music or like that, or challenging myself to like get an emotion. It just kind of came out. The whole song done in this demo, and I just like, I don't know why, I woke up with this idea. I was like, we need to get Boy George to sing this song as well as a duet.
What I liked about it was it wasn't easy to work out what it was about, but it painted all these great pictures. You know, you could almost put a lot into it, you know, and I was like, yeah, I really like this, you know, because it felt like it was about redemption, it felt like it was about recovery, it felt like it kind of felt like it was about what I'd been through, you know, but sort of tidied up.
I didn't really know Boy George and have a relationship with him. I hadn't heard him sing in 20 years.
The song was in like the highest key you could possibly have gone, and I was like, fuck, man. I don't know Mark well enough to kind of just, you know, I think we played around with the key a bit, but he was really pushing me. And I was really insecure. I was really like, wow, I don't know whether I can do this, but I have to, you know, because I'm in the studio now and I've got to get on with it. So I was really intimidated by my own fears, you know.
The back of the Zenith in Paris, it's very noisy. I'm here with Mark Ronson and the Business Posse. Do one song tonight, Somebody to Love Me. And they're screaming for me already. I wanna see you go. I want somebody to love me. Yeah. Why it takes so long to know? I want somebody to love me.
I think just where his voice was at that point, with like had this beautiful broken, like almost like Edith Piaf when she's singing like some of the later songs, like someone who's lived life, who's known regret, who's felt all these things.
His actual words to me were, "You've got the road in your voice." He said that to me, and I was like, yeah, I have a few other things as well.
I don't want to see you go. I want somebody to love me. Yeah. Why it takes so long to know? I want somebody to love me. Yeah. I want somebody to love me.
understanding that music has the ability to really affect people emotionally and spiritually, I think is really important when you're making records.
It is funny, like the one time I offered a lyric to a song, I just like blurted out, I want somebody to love me. I mean, I was in a relationship with somebody about to get married, like it seems like, but I don't want to put too much importance on it because I could have just been trying to write a line that maybe felt good in the pop context.
See the boy I once was in my eyes.
You read all these books about like children from certain childhoods and they keep using this word like, you feel unlovable, you feel unlovable. I'm like, well, that's not true. I like completely feel loved. But I think it's deeper than that. It's like this sense of something broken deep down that you're like kind of like constantly trying to repair. All the records you make are obviously a little bit influenced by the surroundings, like you can't help seep in, whether it's just a mood or literally topography or whatever. Like being in Venice Beach where we made that record, it's not like the poshest part of Venice, and it just has this sunny but seedy thing that kind of influenced this quite Steely Dan, noirish aspect to the record, and then like hopping across town every now and then to go to Bruno's studio to work on like Uptown Funk was like this really fun, like more joyous kind of thing. Dope. I'm not saying like coming out here was suddenly like this vulgar, like, okay, now I'm here, I want to make money, but it was definitely like, let's really fucking dial this shit in. Just because the song feels good, that doesn't mean it's finished yet. You can still dial in more, little more hooks, little more ear candy, and also just like being in a brain trust in a room with guys like Bruno Mars and Jeff Basker, and they're like, what about one more hook? What about, I'm hearing this Girls Hit Your Hallelujah thing, and I'm like, cool, and what about like something at the end, like Uptown Funk You Up, Uptown Funk You Up? Like, we're just all kind of like firing. It was like this really inspiring, exciting cipher when we were working on those records.
This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Styling, wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot.
Bruno had called me to work on his second album, and I was trying to run away or just disown this like super retro tag, and I'd seen him in the Suits doing the James Brown stuff, and I was like, maybe this is just like us together, it's just too much retro. And then I met with him and he was like, I want to make sure that whatever we do sounds nothing like whatever anyone expects Bruno Mars and Mark wants to do. No 60s drums, no Motown thing. I was like, oh, this is fucking great. I love this guy.
Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch.
Bruno played the drums, and there was this drum fill that he played towards the end that was like, it was at the end, and he goes ba-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba-da. But it would just didn't have, just by itself, while everything's like boo boo doo boo boo doo boo boo. We were like, no, that needs a moment, that drum fill. And it wasn't until we wrote like ba-dum bum 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 ba-now, like that it made context and made sense for that drum fill to be there. And that's what happened like the entire song. Like no moment was kind of left unthought about it.
The Grammy goes to Uptown Funk.
I just want to thank these guys for being some of the greatest musicians, producers, and arrangers around. And I see George Clinton over there, a man who has done more for the word funk than we could ever hope to dream of in our entire life.
Every time I put out a new single, Nothing Breaks Like a Heart at Uptown Funk, the label's always like, well, we don't really know, we're getting a little pushback at radio, it's got this thing, and then if those songs go, it's amazing, and they go huge because they are so refreshing.
Well, I mean, My son was into that song. He just wanted to hear it over and over again. And I liked the tune, actually. It reminded me of many things. It sounded very familiar to many things. But the sound of it was good.
And you said something about Uptown Funk. Thank God it's a well-produced song, because the amount that my kids make me listen to it, if it wasn't, I would have to kill you. And he liked the kind of air tightness, and like just when there were stops, they were really pronounced and everything had a lot of intention. And so he got it in his head that he thought I'd be a good producer for the Queens record.
You know, we're making our 7th record. When you're making your 7th record, you really need to explain why I need to listen to it. Like, what didn't you say? I love the risk. And so bringing in Mark already had a sense of risk to it. From the outset on paper, some people would be like, oh, this isn't gonna work.
And actually, like, a bunch of my friends who are like massive Queens fans, like I am, they're like, we're really excited for you, but like, if you make a shitty Queens album, we'll never speak to you again.
Personally, I really wanted to tighten up the sound and make it go and have a modern twist to it. We've always had a certain amount of dirtiness to us, you know? And I thought, what if you could see that even clearer through a modern lens, you know? And I think really that's so deep within his wheelhouse. Our overlap, our concentric circles are much greater than people understand.
I think once they saw what I was about and the dedication and commitment to it, and what a huge fan I was of the band, and like I wasn't gonna try and fuck that up, I think everybody was pretty cool.
Your job is to take something, a familiar feeling, and deliver it in a manner that feels utterly new, and that duality. And that's why this never gets old. And that's why relationships that seem like odd pairings are the best place to start. I love to go dancing. I want to shake hip, I don't want to be hip. That's everything. So how do you take something complicated like that and ensure that the groove has nothing to prove, that it's just laying there like a, you know, like an elephant on a turntable?
It is amazing to think that like I've slightly influenced something by like my favorite band, you know?
Remember when you were saying nay? What do you got to say now, motherfucker?
We open with no drums because usually it comes in with this 4-on-the-floor kick drum, and then your strings come back in the pre here. It sounds really nice, you'll hear it.
It tells me heaven is no closer than it was. My heart keeps pulling in the wrong direction. I'm about to cross that line, looking for the wrong affection night after night, trying to find any distraction. Wanna make it this all night. Everything that I've been mixing all mixed up inside. When I get to call you, and I'm gonna call you. The late night feelings. When I get to call you, and I'm gonna call you. The late night feelings.
And when it comes in, so it'll be like, so really, it's good because we really get a lot of bang out of the buck for the arrangement that you did, which is really nice.
I love that.
The thing that I love about David's arrangements is they create, I think of them as like 3-dimensional because they like create this like, there's all these melodies and wonderful things, but like, it's not just the X and Y axis, there's this like swirling and this, I picture like the shit, I don't know why, it's like round, and I just knew I wanted to have this thing start the record that felt like you were being sucked a little bit into a story. A bit of this Love Unlimited orchestra, Barry White way.
taking the flavor of the old school stuff and then what you just played. It's in there.
Right.
But it's surrounded by all this modern stuff and just beautiful sound.
Yeah.
But you have to actually go back to the well and actually get the roots of that stuff to pull from and then chop it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating when you have any kind of art where you borrow from an earlier era and it brings a depth that might be lost.
To me, what being an artist is not just making things. For me, being an artist is that you must have a perspective. If you have no perspective, you are not an artist. To me, that's like throwing spaghetti against the wall, seeing if it sticks. Oh, it makes a line, whatever. But your perspective on it, what do you have to say?
Hey,
And that is where Mark got me. He's like, what do you have to say? You know, Gaga, like, I know you can write a great pop song, you know, we all know that. He said, but what do you have to write about? Like, if there was just one thing that you could choose that you had to write about, what would it be? And I said, well, you know, my father was deeply affected by the death of his sister when he was 15 years old. She was 19, she died, and her name was Joanne. For my entire life, I have tried to understand my father, understand my father's rage, my father's sadness, and I wanted to write a song that would be the words that I felt that my father would have said or sang to her had he had the opportunity to say goodbye. And we went out into the field, you know, right behind the studio, and he sat there with an acoustic guitar, and I started to sing, and he started to play.
Take my hand, stay Joanne.
And he was playing that sort of arpeggio, beautiful acoustic guitar part, and I was like, that's it, right, that's it. I was like, repeat that. And he kept on playing it, and we just kept writing, and then we arrived at what I thought my father would have said to his sister, girl, where do you think you're going? Take my hand, stay Joanne, heaven's not ready for you. Mark provides a space. There's this tremendous, beautiful, creative space where you just know you're in good hands. And he also was so empowering to me as a female. So for Mark to say that he's not emotionally articulate, I would say is a lie. Sorry, Mark. But he's like my brother, so I can say it. I trust his hands, he trusts mine, we work together, and it was beautiful. Girl, where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going, girl?
Music's everything. Any other art form, I think, is trying to do what music does indelibly, which is just get us as close as we can to the divine. Musicians are they sort of, you know, that's the sort of black tar heroin of art. You know, they go right to the vein. I'd never heard her sing anything like that before. The honesty of it, the simplicity. I thought, wow, look at this woman's gonna make this album that's so outside the box. And she found an artist like Mark Ronson to work with, so I was very impressed with her audacity. There was no separation between her and Ali, in my mind. You know, it wasn't like, oh, she's right for the role. I created the role based on her agreeing to do the movie.
We were working on Joanne, and she was talking about this movie. She wanted to do Star is Born, or Bradley Cooper was gonna make it, and she was like, can we take a week off just to kind of work on songs for Star is Born? I didn't know if we had a week to take out to work on songs for Star is Born. I didn't even know if Star is Born was really gonna happen, but I liked Bradley Cooper a lot in movies, and then he like came to the studio one day and he just like glows like an angel, and you're just like, yeah, whatever you say.
I was like, oh, if this guy's interested in partaking, I feel like, wow, I was very flattered. Even though, of course, it has to do with her, but even the fact that he would believe in me at all and risk having his name associated with it was a huge boost of confidence.
We worked on some songs. We got this Shallow idea down. She likes everyone to put the headphones on, and she has the mic, so you really hear all the nuances and the special bits of her voice. It's really inspiring, and it changes the course of like how you might write.
Those guys, they let me fly, but they fed me so much, and then I fed it back to them, and then they would feed it back to me, and it's this synergy. You know, I call it alchemy. It's like we're chemists in a, you know, beautiful artistic science lab, and then all of a sudden, phew, you've invented something new.
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void?
Hearing her voice in the headphones with those chords, it just felt like special, like the hairs stood up, like it just felt so consoling and gorgeous and heartbreaking, all these things at the same time.
In all the good times I find myself longing.
You're sitting in silence, and I say, tell me something, girl, are you happy in this modern world? And the answer, which is not in the song, is no, I am not happy in this modern world. I need more. Is there something else you're searching for?
It was her desperation and just the rhythm of it. You know, it's, again, here's why I love music. You can't explain it. Like, what is an E flat? Like, can you really explain it? No, you just play it.
In the shallow, in the shallow.
My favorite thing was I was editing the movie, and I called Mark. I said, hey, he was the first person I showed anything to. It was such a boost of confidence, because I didn't know if he was gonna go, what? And the look on his face was like, I mean, he looked rocked. I remember he just thought, what the, like, what?
They've taken this song and just like given it like spinach, do you know what I mean? Like they've taken something that was like pretty good and powerful, and invested it with so much like emotion, because if you love the movie, you will love this song. If you believe in like them falling in love, like this song is attached to it.
And the Oscar goes to Lady Gaga, Mark Ronson.
When we won an Oscar together, I mean, it's like I cried my fucking eyes out, holding him in his arms and looking at him, going, this is my buddy.
Thank you to Mark Ronson, to Anthony Rosamondo, to Andrew Wyatt, my co-writers. I love them so much.
I was with my buddies, all three of them, my buddies, just kids that literally have sat outside a bar, in the gutter, smoking cigarettes, talking about music, maybe humming some tunes. The four of us, we wrote a song that won an Oscar.
Only because you can't really thank yourself. I think when you're in the room with this person, you really don't have to do too much. So she acts, she writes, she sings the song Lady Gaga. We salute you. Thank you for this.
With the Oscars, were they just an out-of-body experience?
On the way to the Oscars, we were like, if something happens and we're lucky enough to win, who speak? Because we knew she was going to speak, and then we're like, me, Anthony, and Andrew all just decided, like, nobody's going to speak. We just let her talk. That's who you want to hear talk. This is her moment, and we'll just, like, kind of nod and leave the stage. So we decided this thing, and then at the last minute, she gives her beautiful speech, and she kind of looks over to me like, Mark, you want to add anything? And I was like, and I just, like, said, like, basically, you know, you said it to me after. I was like, you can't really thank yourself, so this is ridiculous. You are the driving force of this song.
That's one of the best things I've heard in an award show.
Right.
Like, you crushed that moment, and dude, if someone had just thrown me on a speech like that without even realizing it, I'd have been like,
Well, I would have. I just, like, the gods were smiling on me at that moment, but I do feel like a dick, because I'm like telling Anthony and Andrew, like, all right, this just in, nobody's talking, all right? It's just Gaga, this is the rules, these are coming down, none of us are gonna talk, right? It's just Gaga, we leave the stage. And that's me, I might talk a little, like, So I just suddenly felt so bad. Like after I was like, you guys know she like looked at me like there was nothing to do in that.
No, but in
moment to
essence,
say that.
this is an important realization for anybody who's enjoying this conversation, who recognizes the true value in Mark, is that Mark is one of the nicest people you ever met, but he's a total shitter. And the thing is that, you know, he will absolutely present himself in a regard of like, hey man, it's not really about me, like, I'm just totally cool, like, it's really about you, it's totally fine, but it's kind of about me.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of a little bit about me.
Yeah.
There's been some great examples of this, like the time I said, hey, congratulations on your Grammy, and you went, it was 3 Grammys, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And now how many is it?
Important tidbit of information.
And now how many is it? 7?
7, yeah.
7 Grammys.
Yeah. I think that's always subconsciously in the back of your mind because you're thinking like, was this the last one? Is this the biggest thing? Is this the peak? London is the only city where I'm like legit kind of famous, so like I forget like, whoa, these people really love my music. Definitely more than people like it in America where I live. Like, it's funny, it takes a minute to click in. I'm like, I wonder what they're staring, oh, right, me. This record feels like I kind of just like left everything, like in those 13 songs. I know it's good, I know it moves people. It's not gonna be for everybody. I think there's some people who are gonna be like, what happened to the party guy? He turned the disco ball off, or he smashed it into a heart-shaped album of the week. One thing I've learned from reading all these reviews is that in general, the Hot Chip album is better than mine. I think I'm just like in a place in my life, like, I feel like there's not enough time in the day to worry about sugarcoating something or censoring yourself. This is the first time I've really taken this much attention and care and like wanted to make sure that the record was great. The lyrics just have to feel right. They have to feel when you're listening to them for the first time, like you're like, I believe this, you know?
What's left in a heart-shaped case? You can have it all, it's yours to break. If I don't get it right with you this time, it's sometimes you think it's been long enough, but all wants carry the brand.
I had this dog that I got when I was 30 that died like a couple years ago, and then when I moved out here, I didn't have a dog, and I actually didn't realize until like 1 minute, I was like, what's this like empty slot in my life, basically? And I kind of realized that I just missed having a dog, so I adopted Pablo, and then like after a year, I realized he was like a bit lonely. I just decided I'd probably get him a friend, and then I adopted Maisie. I love these dudes. Sometimes when I think about the fact that, like, you know, I always maybe probably imagine myself having a family at this point. There's a dangerous thing because you get so much of a family dynamic in your work and coming to the studio and these people that you work with where you go into these like really forced, almost like emotional boot camps for 6 months. We have this sibling thing and it's like, or maybe you're more of like a caretaker, like a dad or an uncle in some of these relationships, and it's easy to like substitute that for like maybe what you would get from your own family, but they're like totally 2 different things. I'm always like, oh fuck, is that why like I'm still like in this place? Did I take a little long to figure this out? I don't know what it is. I don't have any easy answers for it.
Well, sometimes I go out by